If she had trusted peace treaties, if she had believed the hollow promises made by empires, Circassia would have vanished from the mountains without anyone ever noticing. Because in her world, war never truly ended. It only paused. And the woman who ruled those mountains, the woman who commanded those unforgiving peaks, learned how to survive when survival itself became an act of resistance. Her name was Queen Tamari of Circassia, ruler who did not conquer empires, but refused to be erased by them. This is the story of the mountain queen who outlived war itself. Circassia was never a rich kingdom. It had no vast, marching armies, no endless chests of gold, and certainly no powerful imperial allies to call upon. What it did have were mountain-sharp, unforgiving, protective and a people who had learned to fight for every single breath of freedom they took. Tamari was born directly into this conflict. By the time she reached adulthood, she had already seen her own villages burned to the ground, families scattered and displaced, and borders redrawn by foreign hands without permission. Empires came from every direction, seeking to claim her home. The Ottomans, the Persians, and later, the formidable Russians. Each one believed Circassia would be a simple prize, that it would fall easily. They were all profoundly wrong. Tamari did not rule from a gilded palace or a fortified capital city. She ruled from moving strongholds, from treacherous mountain passes, and from hidden valleys that only her people knew. She never, ever stayed in one place long enough to be surrounded or trapped. Her court was mobile, always on the move. Her personal guards were rotated constantly, ensuring no one could be bribed or compromised for long. Her travel routes changed on a weekly, sometimes daily, basis. This wasn't paranoia. This was the calculated art of survival. It was a strategy born from necessity. While the proud male leaders of neighboring lands often rushed headfirst into glorious battles to prove their strength, Tamari did something far more radical, far more effective. She measured time. She understood a fundamental truth about empires. They fought wars they expected to finish quickly. Their resources were vast, but their patience was limited. Circassia did not need to win a decisive victory on the battlefield. It simply needed to outlast the invaders. So, she consistently avoided large, pitched battles where her smaller forces would be overwhelmed. Instead, she mastered the art of asymmetrical warfare. She broke enemy supply lines, leaving armies stranded and starving in the mountains. She would relocate entire villages in the dead of night, just before an invasion arrived, leaving the enemy to conquer empty homes and barren fields. She used winter, altitude, and the very terrain of her homeland as her most powerful weapons. Enemies would march into Circassia, confident and well-equipped. They would leave exhausted, demoralized, or they would not leave at all, their bones left to bleach in the high mountain passes. Tamari understood that the mountains fought for her. The blizzards were her allies. The rock slides were her artillery. She didn't need an army when the land itself was her greatest defender. This strategy frustrated her enemies to no end. How do you defeat an army that refuses to fight on your terms? How do you conquer a queen who is never where you expect her to be? But Tamari also knew that war wasn't fought only with swords and arrows. It was a battle of wits, a game of diplomacy and deception. She negotiated always carefully, always from a position of perceived strength, even when she was at her weakest. She was a master at playing empires against each other, fanning the flames of their rivalries to her own advantage. She would accept temporary alliances, but never once did she surrender an ounce of her sovereignty. She signed treaties, but she also broke agreements before they could be turned against her people. She trusted no empire completely, not a single one. And that deep, abiding distrust is what kept Circassia alive, breathing, and free. This relentless struggle for survival, however, demanded an unimaginable price. It demanded sacrifice. Tamari lost cherished family members to the endless wars. She buried her closest allies and friends without ceremony, often in unmarked graves, to keep their deaths a secret from the enemy. She was forced to make impossible decisions that saved the many while condemning the few. She carried the weight of those choices every single day, because leadership in a state of endless war is not about heroism or glory. It's about endurance. It's about bearing the unbearable for the sake of your people's future. Her enemies, frustrated by her resilience, tried countless times to eliminate her directly. They sent assassins disguised as merchants. They offered poisoned gifts and sent false envoys, promising peace. They bribed her guards and attempted to infiltrate her inner circle. She survived every single attempt. Why? Because Tamari never assumed she was safe. She always assumed she was in danger. Every meal could be poisoned. Every new face could be an enemy. Every moment of peace could be a trap. This constant vigilance was exhausting, but it was also the key to her long reign. She outthought her would-be killers at every turn. Years turned into decades. Empires rose, clashed, and fell into dust. But Circassia remained, smaller, perhaps. Scarred, definitely, but it was unbroken. And that very fact terrified her powerful neighbors. Because their primary tool of control conquest had failed against her, again and again. The mightiest armies on earth could not subdue a people led by a queen who refused to be conquered. History, as it is written by the victors, did not celebrate her. She didn't expand borders or build grand monuments to her own glory. She didn't leave behind a legacy of conquered lands or plundered wealth. She left behind something far more precious, far more enduring, a people who survived. Queen Tamari of Circassia proved something that empires hate to admit. You do undefeat a land when its ruler teaches the people how to endure. She ruled through movement, through caution, through relentless, unwavering awareness. She survived the endless wars and, more importantly, she made sure her people did too. She was not a queen of gold and marble. She was a queen of wind and stone, a true sovereign of the mountains. If you enjoyed this story of a forgotten queen, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below with your favorite topic you want me to cover next. Your support helps bring these incredible stories back to life. Thanks for watching.